Welcome back, everybody, to HVAC Uncensored. You always know I start the show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. Guys, first and foremost, I know you guys are like, Gil, it's the same ones every week. Well, that's because I love to work with great companies, and these two have been amazing. I love working with them. There's a bunch of other ones I'm talking to, but like I always told you guys, I will not work with a company if it's not something that I believe in and I don't use. If I wouldn't use it, then I'm damn sure not going to offer it to you guys and tell you guys to do it. So you know that always holds true, and I'm going to keep it that way. So that's why these two have been the main two for so long, is because I believe in both of them. So first and foremost, guys, the only app every HVAC company needs, Company Cam, makes it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with your technicians no matter where you are. Company Cam brings documentation, communication, and liability protection together in one simple, easy-to-use app for you and your entire team. Take unlimited photos and videos, share custom reports, create flawless before and afters, and even communicate, share progress with the property owners with galleries and project timelines, all from your smartphone. Company Cam, the only app every HVAC company needs. Guys, check it out. For being a part of HVAC Uncensored Nation, if you go to companycam.com/HVAC Uncensored, they will give you a free 14-day trial. Free, 100% free, no card number, no nothing. It is free. You see it right there on the screen. 100% free, and if you like it after the 14 days, they will give you 50% off your first 2 months just for being a part of Uncensored Nation. Guys, we're in the day and age of technology. You'll see that in podcast, what we're talking about today with the guests that we have, using technology to make yourself better, to be able to provide better service to the customer, to make it easier on yourself. And if you are not using photos and video to help present that image to your customers, what are we doing? Your CRM, don't just count on your CRM. They are built to do one thing. Some of those add-on things are not their specialty. So they have to, link with something else to be able to have that. And that's what Company Cam does. They link with most of the CRMs that are out there. So remember to check that out, companycam.com /HVAC Uncensored. Next is my Old Faithful. This company has been with me the whole 5+ years I've been podcasting, and I absolutely love this company and everything that they stand for. The owner, the people I talk to, everything about this place, I love them. I really, really do. So, guys, as most of you know, I'm a second-generation HVAC tech, 20+ years in the trade, but I always think back to those days working with my dad that I cherish so much. My dad always said your tools are an extension of yourself. If you buy quality tools and take care of them, then they'll take care of you. Most of the time, you only have to buy them once. Well, that brand that I think back to is Yellow Jacket. That was my first set of gauges, my first vacuum pump, my first everything almost. I sound like I'm talking about the first time I got laid, but let's stop that, okay? They've been making quality products for 70 years and counting, and they make them right here in the US of A. All right, when manufacturing's been sent overseas and people have been cheaping out to get the price down, they have not done that. They've stayed here and they've kept their quality the same place it's always been. Guys, my family has trusted Yellow Jacket for generations now, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So remember, 70 years of expertise built into every tool. When you guys are going to spend some of that summer money, all I say is just look to Yellow Jacket. You buy a new manifold, you don't want Yellow Jackets, okay, whatever, that's fine. But you should have Yellow Jacket hoses hooked up to it. That's a guarantee. Everything else, if you're not buying Yellow Jacket, check out my other sponsor, my friends over at True Tech Tools. Use the discount code UNCENSORED to save 8% on your order. They have one of the biggest and best accumulations of HVAC products anywhere on the internet. I do always say shop local, support your local supply houses and all that kind of stuff. If they don't have it, then go save that 8% at True Tech Tools. All right, let's get on the pledge, and we got an awesome show tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I am your host, Gil KV Jr. We have a special episode, not the normal night, but this is a special episode. Guys, I've been waiting and wanting to do this podcast so long. You guys have been asking for it, and I'm so happy for it to be here. This is an app that has taken the HVAC industry by storm. It's been helping tens of thousands of technicians out there in the field. So without further ado, I know I'm going to say his last name wrong, Mr. Peter Capuciati from Bluon.
Not bad. Capuciati, but that's pretty much a standard butcher, so all good there.
How are you, sir? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So I guess, first of all, from everybody that I know personally and people that I talk to, thank you for Bluon, because I know the app is helping a lot of people out there, and that's the truth. So thank you for the app.
Yeah, well, thanks for saying that. Our whole company literally runs on the gratitude of techs. We talk about it every day. It's why we're here. It's what makes this whole thing work. So that means a ton.
Yeah. So I guess most people know about Bluon. I guess let people know a little bit about you as the CEO and chairman of Bluon, and how Bluon came about.
Yeah, Bluon, it's got one of the more interesting and unusual foundational stories, right? So I'll give you the quick 2 seconds on me, and then we'll jump into the Bluon story. But so I got a really strange background. I was a physicist at Columbia. That was my first world. I've kind of lived in 3 different worlds. I was in R&D. I was working on, believe it or not, plasma physics, fusion generation back in the early 90s. That whole program got cut by the feds, but left me sort of unemployed. So I got a job as a real estate guy, which was going to be a 6-month, 1-year gig. Long story short, ended up being an 18-year gig, super lucrative, made a ton of money, but it wasn't doing anything meaningful or helping anybody out, or it was kind of soul sucking. But it was a lot of fun and made a lot of money, but it kind of wasn't what I wanted to do in my life. So I left, had a midlife crisis when I was 37. Got out of that, went back into physics and R&D, and sort of got back into that world. And because I was in real estate, I knew about the Freon R22 phase out, and knew how much of a big deal it was going to be, and knew how the industry wasn't really taking it as seriously as they should, because as you guys know, all the replacements, were pretty bad, right? Not great.
Yeah.
No capacity, literally worse for the environment, which no one likes to talk about. Just in general, compatibility problems, oil carry problems, just general problems, technicians hating them, getting burned left, right, and center. So we founded Bluon, it was after I came out of that real estate world, with the intention of getting some chemists together, some physicists together, and hey, can we make a refrigerant that actually improves performance in the existing R22 equipment? Is that possible? That was kind of the initial premise of the company. And so we spent 4 years, pure R&D, right? Just pure R&D, lab coats, the whole 9 yards, and just coming up with new formulas and new refrigerants. We were able to actually, crack the code and figure out how to make a refrigerant that operated at lower pressures, more capacity, dealt with oil carry or immiscibility. Was really a knockout product. First wall we ran into was the EPA. That was a 2-year battle, which was let's just say we're one of the only companies to get a product through that's not called Chemours or Honeywell. So it takes a bit of a inside knowledge. Sorry, some guys walking in my office here.
You're good.
Anyway, so that led us into a company that was at a refrigerant. We were doing R&D. We get out in the market, and this is where the whole journey really starts for the app. So 2017, we're out in the market. We got a ton of potential users, a lot of commercial real estate that wants to use the product, but we run into kind of a brick wall. And that brick wall was the HVAC technician community, because they'd been burned so bad historically with other replacements and blends, and just had no tolerance for a new product. And we're like, look, time out. We really want no part of this. And so we were sort of in a, as I always say, the techs they can't say yes, but they can say no. And so I gave them this name. I call them now the guardians of HVAC innovation, which is true, right?
Yeah.
Because if the technician community doesn't adopt the product, it's not going to make it, period, right?
Yep.
It's just not going to make it. And so it's like, okay, well, how the hell do you get 300,000 technicians to love your product in a short period of time? Not so easy. And that's where the app idea came from. This is in 2017 where the idea was new. We're like, hey, we'll just take all the models. This is before we knew what the hell we were talking about. We'll take all the models. We'll put all the information of that model in a database, and then we'll tell the technician exactly how to retrofit that unit, what to change, what to modify, how to tune it, what to tweak, whatever has to be done to retrofit that unit from R22 to our 458A, which is our refrigerant. So it turns out, as you know, there are literally hundreds of thousands of model numbers out there, and it's a just enormous amount of data. But that didn't deter us because we didn't know. And so we started tackling them. We had about 40,000 units, legacy R22 units, that we went through this process with. But along the way, we did the service owner's manuals, wiring diagrams, troubleshooting guides, technical specs, control packages, all that information we put into the app by model number in a brand agnostic way. And this is the key. Because we were a refrigerant that had to operate in all brands, we had to make the thing brand agnostic, but super easy to find. And so that's where the app came to be. And all of a sudden, we developed this tool for retrofit, which was really the purpose of the app, to save the refrigerant in its adoption. But technicians started to use the app for day-to-day service calls because all the information was there. And that's when we realized, whoa, we're a software company, not a refrigerant company, and started to lean into that much more aggressively and build out the support vehicle, knowing we had 5, 10, 20, 30, 50,000 techs on the platform very quickly, right, in 2018, 19. But then we sort of had this massive community, and we had to figure out how to monetize it. But that's sort of the next part of the story. But that's how I got into HVAC. It was really an R&D effort that turned into an HVAC support observation that now turned into a way to really give back to the tech community in a way that they really have not been historically, right? The techs are, they're disregarded. Tech support is terrible. OEMs don't understand why techs need support. The more we dug into it, the more we realized, wow, there's a huge need here, and these techs really need it, and they really deserve it, and we're in a unique spot to give them the support.
That's awesome, because on the outside thinking in, I'll be honest, I've always wondered that, I think the app is really what makes you guys so great and made you so popular, because let's be honest, in 5, 10 max, 22 is going to be gone. You know what I mean? So, those systems are going to be old enough to be replaced. So, and then when you think about it like this, I don't want this custom, it's funny. One of my friends, Brent, who is the tool pro, he's a, I can't think of the word. He's got a huge Instagram influencer. Jeez, I had a brain fart.
There you go.
A lot of people have asked, what you do is awesome. Your tech support is awesome, but how does Bluon survive? If everything's free, how do you guys make money? How do you
I'll tell you. I mean, so that is the question, right? So 2 years ago, when we recognized that the community and the support were just this massive thing, right? It's insatiable thirst from these technicians who really need the help, and we loved giving it to them, and it really was super fulfilling. We knew we would find a way to monetize it, right? Because it was too sticky, it was too big, and technicians are too important to the trade to not be able to monetize it. So we were kind of operating blind, to be quite honest with you. We knew we had this thing. We knew it was valuable. We weren't sure if we were going to turn it into like a SaaS play where we would charge contractors, or a marketing play, but that, you give a technician an advertise, they'll throw it in the garbage. So we were like, look, we know we have this community. How do we monetize it? And about 18 months ago, the light bulb went on when we became aware of how screwed up the process of identifying and ordering parts is, as you know, and how difficult it is and how many mistakes are made, and just the cross-referencing challenge that nobody seems to understand. So we figured out, hey, we were already about to put the parts into the app. Well, if I can make identifying parts easy for techs, and I can make that identified part easy to send to a local distributor, and I can make that local distributor's job of cross-referencing that part super easy, bingo, I can monetize the platform. Because now that distributor wants to communicate with that tech. They want an easier way to find the solution. They're willing to pay us a clip of that transaction, and everybody's happy. Now, we knew we were onto something, but we weren't sure how fast distributors would want to partner with us, right? It was like, who knows? We'll see how it goes. But I can tell you right now, we're about to go live with the e-commerce portal, which goes live June 21st, or maybe a day later, but around there. We already have 2,000 stores. So almost 40% of the whole market is on the platform day one.
Nice.
So there's been a huge, huge amount of desire, because again, we show up with 120,000 techs on the platform. Like, you want to talk to these guys? They're like, yes. And, of course, we are brand agnostic. So we don't, we're no different if you're trained Carrier, Lennox, York, Ferguson, Watsco, it doesn't matter. It's all one thing, which is why the techs love it so much. Because it's, one job, one app for any job. But the distributors really want to, this value prop is super powerful to them. The ability to reduce that research time, get that order fulfilled super fast, get rid of all the wrong parts, understand what that guy's working on in the field real time because the data shows it. So we're super stoked about it, and it's going to monetize the hell out of the platform. And the most amazing part about it is it's so good that we can keep on adding more and more and more tech support for the technicians for zero cost, because we're basically monetizing it with the suppliers paying for the connection. Gotcha. So now the techs get all this benefit, huge amount of support, zero cost to them, keep making it better and better and better, and just make that connection more beneficial. So the ordering process is easier for both sides.
That's great. That's great. That's an awesome idea, because I've always said that I think as a trade, we're behind where we should be. It's always been like the automotive industry makes a little leap, and then we kind of sniff their butts and follow. And, and something like this is great because a lot of the older generation, like somebody in the podcast last night had a great statement. I loved it. When one of those older guys retires, that's like a library burning down. All of that knowledge is gone. And a lot of the young guys, well, I want to say a lot, not enough young guys, but the ones that do come in, we have to embrace technology to make ourselves better. And stuff like this, that's right in their wheelhouse, and have those resources to not be afraid to ask for questions. And let's be honest, in the trades, everybody's got an ego. You can see it in the Facebook group. It's a doodad measuring contest. You know what I mean? But when you have an app like this, people can get the help, and they're in their privacy. Nobody has to know. And as somebody who runs a company, other business owners, as long as the problem gets solved, I don't care. You know what I mean? If they had to go on Bluon or whatever it is, as long as you get the resources you need, it's a win-win for everybody. And everybody has said that the technical support and stuff that they get is amazing. Like I've heard not one bad thing. And normally doing the podcast, I hear both sides of everything, and not just saying that because you're here talking to me. I've not heard anything bad about Bluon, so that's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's why that is? I'll tell you why. Because we really embrace the technician. Like, I don't mean that. It's not bullshit. Like, we literally, everything we do is for them, and we quickly realize that if we do that, we're going to get the loyalty and sticky of the tech community, which at the end of the day is our power, right? That's our power as Bluon, and our power as giving techs a voice in what they want to get, right? From the OEMs, from the distributors. But no, you're spot on. I mean, we literally get 400 to 500 calls now a day, tech support. We have 35 of the best techs in the universe answering these questions from mini splits to 5,000 ton chillers and everything in between. And these guys are the best of the best. And it's exactly what you said. We talk about it all the time. we're preserving the wisdom of these 50 to 65-year-old techs with all this knowledge that usually just get put to pasture and it's gone, right? It's gone. Versus, no, let's capture it. Let's make it available and let's digitize all these answers so they're searchable in the future. So then now the tech in the field can just type in that model number and boom, have access to any other question ever asked about that line or that model. So I could not agree more that it's all about getting all that information and allowing the new guys to learn. And the new guys learn differently, right? They don't learn by memorizing. They learn by indexing. They want to know where to look when, as opposed to go memorize something. So you got to give them access to all of it so they can get it in 2 seconds, right? That's the whole ballgame.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's a lot of people that, manufacturers changing, they can't look at a model number and know what size it is, how old it is, service bulletins, service manuals. And we're in the day and age that everybody is on these things all day. I mean, this is a library, encyclopedia. Everything is right here in your hand, and you need to be able to embrace that. That can make us more efficient technicians. And whether you're in commercial, residential, whatever it is, the more efficient we are, the better service we provide, the more money that we all make, and the better we grow our companies and stuff like that. So it's amazing. So I don't want to say I have this. So can we go over some of the things that are in the app?
Sure.
I mean, I know most people know, but I'm just saying, God forbid they don't. If you don't know about Bluon, I don't know where the hell you've been living for the last couple of years, but just in case.
Yeah, I mean, the app really is made to be super easy to use. We have this saying right here, we call it the 5-second learning curve. Basically, if it takes more than 5 seconds to figure it out, don't put it on there, right? It's got to be that easy and that quick. So basically, the app is just a giant list of every brand you've ever heard of in the industry, organized by the equipment that those brands make, right? And then it's segmented by the type of equipment, whether it's a air handler or a furnace or a mini split or a chiller or whatnot. You go in, you find the model number, which is really easy because you go brand, line, model number, so it makes it super intuitive to find it in like 3 clicks. And then once you get to that model homepage, you have access to sort of the world of that model. You get all the technical bulletins, all the manuals, all the specs. You get a discussion of anything connected to that type of unit or line that someone else is talking about in the forum. So it's already curated, in terms of the data that's relevant to you in that moment. And then you get all the parts. So you literally get the original bill of materials, all the original part numbers, the specs for those parts, which is, by the way, an insane amount of data. So basically every model number, we have 300,000 model numbers. About 80% of them have full bill of materials and full specs for those parts within that bill of materials. And then as we move into the middle of June, you're going to be able to click on that part. Let's say you're on a York blah blah blah. You click on the condenser motor. Here's the original OEM number. You see the specs. Click. I want to order that. And then you can send that request to your local supplier, which is any local supplier you've picked as the tech. And then that supplier will see that original number and any of the cross references that they have to match that. So now they don't have to do any work, right? They just got to look, I have that one. Boop, click, done. And they can do that for any request you make. So really it's about information on the model you're working on, which means diagrams, specs, anything technical, service bulletins, whatnot. A discussion on that model, which other techs in the field are talking historically or now about, or that line. And then it's the ability to drill down into the parts. And ultimately, if you can't still figure it out, there's a big giant red button, tech support. 5 minutes or less, a amazing Bluon tech answers the phone, and you're off to the races solving your problem in real time with a real human who's a 30-year vet in the field. So it combines all these elements of where you are at the moment in your job servicing that piece of equipment, whether it's diagnosing, servicing, researching, ordering, all of the above, but it makes it really easy and really quick. And then we got another section of the app, which is all about like tools and calculators, for doing basic, whether it's superheat, subcool, nitrogen test, pressure conversion, all those types of tools. And then we're putting in middle of the summer, which is really cool. We have a guy in our team is a really gifted educator, and he's making 2-minute long videos of there's about 53 parts that make up pretty much every piece of equipment out there. And he's made a 2-minute video on each part, like ripped it in half, sawed it in half so you can see what's going on. And he gives you a really quick tutorial on how to diagnose and service that part. So as you call up that model, you'll see, oh, there's the 13 parts that matter in this model. Here's a video for each one. If I need a 2-minute refresher, boom, that's right there as well. So it's really just like a Swiss Army knife for that model you're working on at the time.
That's amazing. And I'm so happy as a second generation HVAC tech. My dad did this. I'm just so happy to see stuff like this out there to be a resource to help the trade, because that is amazing. And all those things, when you look at them individually, like, oh, it's a manual, I can look it up on Google, or oh, it's this, but collectively all together in one place, that's amazing. Like that saves time. Like you can't beat that. And that's and not a lot of these now, like, yeah, maybe we only install one brand or two brands, even though now you can't get shit, you can't get anything, but but you service whatever the customer has. So if you run into a problem, the fact that you can use Bluon to be able to get technical support if needed on any brand, that is amazing. Because I remember being in the field, we were always carrier dealers, which, that's great. But I would get to work on something else that maybe I was unsure of. I still have to fix it for the customer, and you call their tech support, and it's like, oh, well, what's your code? I don't have one. Okay, click. I mean, that's literally what happened. You wouldn't get the support you needed.
That is so. I had a conversation with let's just say a senior executive at a OEM, not to be named, and we were having this debate about this exact topic, because they were saying, hey, we don't provide support to techs who are not registered or certified or whatever the hell the word they want to use for their brand. And I said, well, what do you think happens when that tech calls you and can't get support? You think they stop working on it? No. They're going to fuck it up, right? They're going to make a mistake, and guess who gets the blame? You, Mr. Maker of the equipment. So all you're doing is creating all these negative repercussions of your brand in the field by not supporting the tech on the job who's going to work on it anyway. You're not stopping that. And they're like, oh, no, they don't work on it. I'm like, you're crazy. Like I'm telling you, you're out of your mind. Like, I guarantee you those techs are continuing to work on that piece of equipment after you hang up on them. And it just no connection, right? It's why OEM tech support has become so, almost gone, right? Either you wait 2 hours, or you get someone you can't talk to. And all these guys and the younger guys in the field need it more than ever, because they don't have the experience or the training that a lot of the older guys got with the mentor programs and more training. So it's needed more now than ever, and it's absent, right? It's really mind blowing.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised some of these manufacturers don't take it upon themselves to, in the day and age of social media, to have like a YouTube channel, provide resources, something. They don't, because I feel like we have to buy their product. We have no choice. Everybody's got a certain flavor or brand. Every one of them's going to get, bought. It doesn't matter who they are. So it's a manufacturing thing. They'll just keep making it. We'll keep getting it. Like refrigerant. We're all like, hey, we loved R22, but we got to use 410, Oh, 410's great, but now we have to use this. You got to do what they tell you to do. And there's, you know what I mean? You can bitch about it, but you still got to move on. There's not much you can do. I want to talk about, some of the refrigerant stuff too. Is there anything besides what you just said about the e-commerce or whatever, anything new popping up in the app that can be talked about, or anything in the future that's getting added, like still in the, I figure it's constantly a evolving thing.
Yeah. So obviously the e-commerce thing is massive, right? It's a Herculean undertaking to connect all these techs, because we need to know, not only do we have to connect them, I have to know for all of these techs on the platform where they have accounts. So I have to get that information from them, which they're giving to us, God bless them, so I can connect them to the 4 or 5, 6 accounts they have in the field and make it super easy for them to order from whoever they want to in that moment. Super challenging. And then getting all the distributors on and all their systems, it's unbelievably difficult. But we're super stoked about it. It goes live in like 3 weeks. And I just say, you guys got to give it a shot, because it's going to make the process of ordering so much easier, and the headaches are going to go away, because they can't screw up the part number now. They've got all the data. They got the cross-reference. You're going to get the right part from the right people. And the guys that maybe you have a favorite distributor who doesn't carry carrier or doesn't carry Train, but guess what? There's a cross-reference that works just as well that now they can give you. So with that information, you can go to the supplier you want to go to, and they're probably going to have a part that works in that situation because of the data. So that's huge. The other thing we're launching in the summer, late summer, is we're going to make it so we're another part of our whole way is to make sure we're giving back to the tech, right? It's all about, we know they're the foundation of the industry. How do we give back to these guys? And so what we're going to do is, because the techs are the one that initiate that order, right? You guys decide who to go to buy motor X, condenser Y, whatever. So we're going to give them a % back in cash on every order they make on the platform. So if you're a tech and you're making a couple $100,000 of orders a year, right, on behalf of XYZ, you'll get a little piece of that as being a member on the platform. Now, it doesn't cost the contractor anything. It's all funded by the supplier, right? It's out of Bluon's pocket. It's based upon, we're taking a piece of our take rate, but that way we can not only, get more activity, which is obviously for our benefit, but also we can give back, and maybe a tech can make an extra $1,000 a year by simply being a prolific user of the platform doing their parts ordering. So really stoked about that in terms of, overall benefit. And the older guys, if they go on the forum and are answering questions in lieu of our tech support, they'll get points, which also turn into cash. So the whole community can help itself and get paid for that help. And that's really what it's all about.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And I love the cross-reference stuff because, like we were talking about earlier, is trying to get OEM stuff right now is really hard. It's all from the factory. It takes forever. Customers don't want to wait. So that cross-reference, it's like, hey, I can't get the OEM, but I can get this generic that crosses over that works. And a lot of the supply houses, they're wanting you to place orders online.
Okay.
They don't have as many people answering the phones. And running a business, I don't want my guys in a supply house.
That's right.
They're not making money in a supply house. I want them to get what they need and get moving, not sit in there and have lunch and have a 2-hour conversation. Let's just, be honest.
Totally.
But that's awesome. So, and when you say that with all the accounts, so say I order from my local Johnstone. I can order through, I don't know who's in there, but say they're in there, I can order my parts from that same company.
Yes.
That's awesome, because
That's right.
Normally when people do something like this, it's through some big third-party company. Like there's always a corporate interest involved. I love this, how we can still support that local supply house. So I'm not taking my business from the relationships that I've built, because those relationships are powerful.
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones that answer the phone at 9:00, or, hey, you need me to open up the supply house on a Saturday. So that's awesome that you guys were able to keep that. I think that's huge, and what will make this a huge factor in making it work and last. Because there's a lot of the ones that are like, oh, buy the part from HVAC.com and get 10% off. And it's like, that lasts for a little bit, but it always falls off every time something like that's happened. So kudos to you guys. That's awesome that you guys did that. That's really cool.
It literally is the main part of the strategy, right? It was local techs, local distributors, we're enhancing that relationship. We're not displacing it. And we want it to be easier to go to the same store, same account, same counter staff. Just now it's all informed and everything is way faster. By our math, we're going to be able to save, at least an hour a day to the average tech, if not more. And so that translates into more jobs, right? More jobs for you as the contractor, more benefit for the technician, easier day for them. And that's why we had so many OEMs, rooting for us, because they know that there's not enough technicians to go around, right? There's more work than is techs to do. Yeah. And therefore there's not making as much equipment as they could be if there was more techs to do the more work. So that's why we got a lot of support from the big players, because they see this as a way to solve that labor shortage. I can't make 100,000 techs out of thin air, but I can make the 300,000 techs that exist 30% more effective, right? And then all of a sudden we can get more throughput. Everybody does better. And that really is that's the crux of the whole thing, right? Is to allow the techs to do their job faster, better, more effectively, and have a better time at it, a better life. All of those things all result in Bluon being more successful. So that's the whole ballgame. But you're right. I mean, the local is everything, right? You try to go to some super company, you piss off people. Not to mention the service sucks. You don't have that credit line like you did otherwise. All that crap goes away, which is necessary, right, as a contractor.
Yeah, it's huge. And the other thing that's great about this, like, it helps the technician, but it also helps the supply houses, because when you call and you're like, hey, I need a part number 156A4, they love that. It's not that guy. It's like, I need that little brown thing that spins counterclockwise, So it really does. That kind of helps the industry. And technicians need supply houses. Supply houses need technicians. So that's hand in hand. So making that easier for both of them, that's a win for the industry in my book,
Oh, yeah. Oh, and every counter staff that we've shown this to, we've shown it to hundreds, if not thousands now, they all go like, man, this is going to be such a home run, because it just makes their life so much easier, and it gets rid of all the mistakes that they constantly make. And particularly the new guys that are a year or two in the business who don't have that knowledge, right? They don't know, they don't have all that experience. Now we give it to them, right? Boom, there it is. All the data is there. All you need to know is how to read a screen and click a button. And then it just makes that process so much easier. Yeah, you're spot on. They're as excited about this as the techs are over the last 6 months as we've been, introducing it to them.
Nice. Now all you need is like a courier service, and be like,
we got one.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was my next thing I was going to say. So I don't know if you guys have heard of a company called Curry, Curri.
No.
So basically think of them as like the Uber Eats of HVAC. So right now they're massive, right? But they do mainly on the behest of the distributor for equipment orders or orders that are initiated by the supply house, not by the contractor. And the reason that is, it gets a little bit in the weeds, is because as you know, as a contractor, you don't want to open another account. You don't want another person to pay. So, but if we can put the line item on the local distributor for that $25 charge of a Prius bringing you a condenser motor, you're like, yeah, I don't want to send my guy. Do that. So we're going to make that built into the platform as of middle of the summer. So you just click delivery, boom, shows up in the light on, it just shows up, right? You have a tracking there, like on a map on your phone. It'll show it coming. Makes your life so much easier, and you're saving a ton of money, because why have one of your techs who's obviously higher paid, higher value, for some guy driving a Prius, which can bring you the piece.
That is like a dream come true. That is so funny that you say that, because I was kidding, but not kidding. I was talking about that in a meeting today, and it was like, and they're like, oh, well, it's an added fee. Well, you just add that convenience fee onto your customer. Hey, if you would like me to, change this motor today, like I can get it dropped off. It's a $59 charge. Most customers are going to be like, I don't give a shit, Yeah,
right.
I'm not trying
Turn
to
it on.
Yeah, so that is awesome. That's really, really, really cool. Man, and that's
we're super psyched for that. It's going to be live. So it's going to be live probably in, being realistic, like middle of August. But we got the deal done. The Curry guys are awesome. Like, you would love these guys. They are salt of the earth, just really great founders, great guys. So it's all ready to go. We're just building the interface to make it. Because one thing we know about with techs, and you'd probably appreciate this, we don't want to ever release a feature until it's super easy, right? It can't be hard. It's got to be idiot proof. Like for me too, it's got to be just push the button, things happen, super simple. So we're just really hesitant to release a feature until we got it dialed, right? Till it's like perfect.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So is Curry, are they like all over the United States, certain regions? Oh,
no, they're pretty much everywhere except for like really rural areas. But in any place with any kind of population density, so most everywhere we're talking about 95%, they're active.
Because I live outside of Baltimore, and not everybody comes here. So
yeah, well, the question is, if you can order Uber or Lyft, it's the same drivers, it's the same people. They're just going to take a different service route.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So as far as, and we can loop back around, I just want to make sure I don't forget. I forgot my pad to write things down. When it comes to the refrigerant side, are you guys still going to stick with that side of it or just more on the app now that things are changing? Because I say this because, like we said earlier, 22 is going to be phased out and gone soon. 410 still there, but when we went from 22 to 410, all manufacturers had to use 410 on new equipment. Now it's up to the manufacturer. Yeah, so we have R32, we have R454B. We're going to have to be carrying around tractor trailers with refrigerant. Is Bluon going to be in that market? Try to make your own or something like that?
No.
No.
So we have our product. Our sales are through the roof. We're up a ridiculous percentage over the last 2 years. However, we want to be brand agnostic. We recognize that we shouldn't, I don't want to be picking winners and losers as a platform. I want to be whatever you want to use, Mr. Tech, go for it, right? And so we are in the process of figuring out who to partner with in the product. Plus the EPA has thrown some major wrenches into future refrigerant anything in their infinite wisdom, which we'll save for another day, which is zero wisdom.
Yeah.
It's shocking, mind-blowing. But with that being said, to your point, man, it's gonna be ugly. I mean, the fact that we're going to these A2Ls, it just scares the shit out of me. I mean, having these techs running around with R32 and 454, which are slightly flammable, which I've tested it and I'll tell you it's really flammable, look out flammable. And so just putting more techs in danger. So we're really interested in supporting the training and the word out of how to deal with these new refrigerants, which we are partnering with some of the larger players how to do that. So as part of that deal, we're going to be sort of handing off the refrigerant to one of those partners. We're still working on who that's going to be. But we're definitely migrating into the platform as our main business. And the refrigerant's still there. We're making money on it. It's great. But it's definitely a medium-term plan to partner with that and sort of let someone else handle it from a manufacturing and distribution standpoint.
And that makes perfect sense. You guys had a hit, it was that one hit wonder, but we went off and started something else that's even better. So that's what I kind of figured you would say, but I didn't know. But that's awesome. And then these A2Ls, now they're saying different vacuum pumps, a lot of things are going to have to change. Some of that stuff can get caught in the oil and mess up these existing vacuum pumps. I think a lot of people need to really be prepared for when this change comes because, everybody's oh, we went from 22 to 410. It was fine. This is different. This is going to be different.
It is really different. Really different. I mean, you can't mess around with this stuff. I mean, even I've got a video I could share with you. It's literally, we took 3 ounces. We made some at the lab. We made some R454 up B, and we basically lit it on. We basically put it in a system. We lit it on fire effectively, and we filmed it all. And holy Christmas! I mean, the explosion is big, right? With 3 ounces of refrigerant in it. So you could imagine, you're putting yourself in a bad spot. And I always tell the EPA. There's one thing I know about techs, about 40% of them smoke, right? And the one thing you do not want to be doing is smoking around that vapor. So it's going to take some, it's just, that's a fact, right? It is what it is. So training and getting the guys in the field aware of this stuff and how to deal with it and all the risks, but also just how to function, right? How to deal, all the equipment changes. It's a big undertaking. So we're gearing up for that and how we can help the community really understand what they're dealing with. Because you're right, it's not just going to 410. It is not. That is not at all what this is going to be. Much more complicated and much more risky.
Yeah, and what pisses me off about it is I feel like they're not doing it because it's what's best for the industry. It's what's best for someone else. And EPA licenses, it's a fucking joke. Half the guys out there don't have it. You go take a weekend class and they pretty much give you the answers and you get the license at the end. It doesn't mean anything besides you can buy refrigerant. A lot of people get one and think now they're certified technicians. So most people don't have that. They don't really have any kind of, half the states don't even have licensing. Like when I started podcasting, I was dumbfounded because Maryland, they do have licensing, apprentice, journeyman, all that kind of stuff. When I found out that more states don't have that than do, I was kind of dumbfounded. Then you see EPA being a joke. Then you do something like this that has a lot harsher circumstances to the homeowner, to the technician doing the work, but we don't make it harder. Like they're like, oh, you got to get a new EPA license. Okay, well, half the people out there don't even have it. Like, it seems counterproductive and stupid. It just doesn't make any sense.
You are spot on, my friend. I have been in so many screamers with both the EPA and the DOE on this topic because they don't get it. They just don't understand. And by the way, most of the OEMs don't get it either. I mean, I was speaking to some guys at some of the big brands. I'm not going to name them, but they also don't get it, right? Oh, we'll give them a little training. They'll be fine. Like, no, it doesn't work that way, right? This is not just switching from unleaded to leaded gas. Yeah. It's a different animal, which, by the way, they use that expression all the time, which drives me bananas. So, yeah, no, there's a huge lack of understanding. I think it's a fundamental systemic problem with the disconnect between the technicians and the contractors and the regulatory bodies, which have no clue of what these guys go through. And then in the middle is the OEMs, who are also clueless in terms of what the techs have to go through. So yeah, that's why we have no tech support, right? Because there's this disconnect. So I mean, we're fighting an uphill battle. I mean, we're sort of excited to take it on, but I could not agree with you more. And I mean, I wish there was more people stepping in to try to help out because we're getting close, right? We're a couple of years away when this thing unloads on us.
Yeah, it's getting scary because, like we said earlier, not to backtrack, but we're losing some of the seasoned vets. They're retiring faster than people are coming into the trade. So now we have novice people that don't know what they're doing coming in, and now we're gonna up the stakes and make it more dangerous. It seems like a recipe for failure, a disaster. So that's why the podcast and different shows, I just try to educate people the best I can, to just pay attention, read a book, read an article, have an app, on your phone like Bluon, something to try to better yourself. Because I will say, when people say, in today's day and age, you can't say, I didn't know. Because if you didn't know, it means you didn't want to. Because there's no reason you can't find out. You can Google anything. You can ask Siri. You know what I mean? There's ways of you to find out. So that's a bullshit excuse nowadays.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to make all that stuff easily available, but at one spot. So you don't have to go to 10 spots to find it. Where you're on your job, you're on that particular piece of equipment, and boom, everything relevant is right there. And then there's really no excuse. And more importantly, we're able to force feed that data into their face. So, hey, be careful. This has got XYZ situation. Take these precautions or do whatever. But I think that's if we can get into that workflow where techs are in the habit of putting in the piece of equipment they're working on, just taking a quick glance at Bluon and seeing what's up, then they'll be in a better spot to avoid any problems.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know we're getting almost close onto an hour. So I know I wasn't able to make the road show we talked about off air, which sucks. Is the road show still going? Where is it currently? To let some of the audience know if they want to hit something like that.
Well, unfortunately, it's over. So we wrapped it up on May 9th in Boston. It was awesome, though. We started in California, went all the way down through Arizona, Texas, up through Florida, and up around, and then it ended up in Boston. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. You know, we probably saw several thousand techs, gave away a lot of burgers and a lot of hats, a lot of beer, but it was a ton of fun. It was really cool to interact with all the different folks from around the country and see the enthusiasm. We had guys driving like 6 hours to some of these things. So it was pretty awesome just to get that feedback and just feel that energy and enthusiasm. And I think the coolest part about Bluon that we've built, which just makes me, super just incredibly happy, is that there's this sense of community in the techs that like, hey man, we're in it together. And there, like this Bluon thing, it's almost like Bluon defines the community versus us, right? So it gives a sense of a sense of purpose and belonging, which is really cool.
I gotta give it to me. Hold on.
There we go.
There it is.
Shazam!
Yeah,
Nice.
my Bluon hat.
Right. So we
it's back there.
go ahead. Oh, it's so we've given away 120,000 of those things, and so people see them all over the place. There's nothing cooler than me walking into a supply house and seeing like 3 or 4 guys with a Bluon hat. It's the greatest feeling of all time. So yeah, it's awesome, man. That sense of community was really powerful on this road trip, and you could really feel it and see it. And the guys were super stoked and just wanted to understand what's next, how they can help. I mean, I love I always say techs are the biggest skeptics in the world, but they're the most loyal afterward, right?
Yep.
You get them over that hump, and they're loyal forever. But you got to get you can't be full of shit. You got to be genuine. You got to be real, and that's the whole name of the game.
Yeah, because let's be honest, on these social media, different sites and Facebook and different ones, everybody's selling snake oil. There's always another sales trainer or technical trainer or whatever it is. So guys, they have to see through the bullshit sometimes, but you're absolutely right. When they see through it and they see there's value in something, they will latch onto it. They'll defend it. I'm fortunate enough that I've been one of the podcasters that's made it, that they like me for some reason. I don't know why, but they do. Because, if you sit on there and you BS, they will call you out in a heartbeat. That's for damn sure. So, and I think that you're right that's why you guys grew so big so fast. So, yeah, that's awesome. I know there's guys, we're going to get ready to close out. Everybody in the chat, first of all, thank you guys for being there. I'm sorry I haven't interacted with you much. I think I asked most of the questions that everybody wanted. If you guys have any questions for Mr. Pete here in the last few moments, please, if you could type it in all caps, and I'll do my best to ask your questions. Yeah, I don't see any other ones, so that's probably it. But yeah, I mean, one thing I could say on behalf of the trade, I thank you guys for what you're doing. This is awesome. Like I said earlier, any resources that help us out in the field. I wish I had this when I was in the field, but now seeing how our guys use it and how much it helps them, it's amazing. It helps me, running operations. Maybe it's a few less technical phone calls I have to take that I can be doing something else, versus trying to walk somebody through something. And I want to look into the whole parts thing, because in the courier and stuff like that, that's literally like a dream come true. I've thought about that. And the funniest thing is I was literally talking to somebody about that today. So when I said that kind of joking but not, and you said yes, it was like, bing, like that's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. And obviously I know that you guys are going to keep having things, evolving and stuff like that. And I hope the next time, well, not hope, whenever it is the next time you guys have a road show and you guys are in Baltimore or close, I will 100% be there. It stinks that I missed it. Do you guys go to the different expos like AHR and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Yep, we got a massive presence at AHR this year. We were huge, so we'll be there next year, of course. We'll be doing other stuff too. We're thinking of doing even a Bluon event where we can bring out a couple hundred techs from around the country and take just get their feedback, get their input. Another thing, if you guys or anybody listening has, hey, I wish you guys did this, or I wish this was there, or I wish this button did that. Don't be shy. That's how we get better. We need that feedback from the field. And as we learn that stuff, we try to integrate it as fast as we can. We're kind of like a feedback machine. So, yeah, keep it coming. You can always email us at info@bluon.com. We get it right away. We'll see it. And, yeah, just let us know.
That's awesome. A friend of mine, he's a local guy, Zeke, said the Bluon app is going to be a game changer. I agree, but I think it already is a game changer, to be honest. So, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I was at AHR, and it's – when we're podcasting and doing stuff in there, it's kind of hard to actually go around to enjoy things. But next year, that's AHR. I'll try to make sure that I come to the booth and stuff like that to be able to stay in touch and check you guys out, just to kind of keep that relationship growing. Anything that I can help, pass along, please let me know. I love to help and give back to an industry that's been so good to me. That's why I do, that's why I do this, to try to give back and help.
Love it. No, I think we're all built from the same cloth there. I mean, that's why it works, right? I mean, everybody at this company is all about service to others, and we sort of like focus on that. And it's what keeps the place humming. And that and seeing we get. I mean, literally, we get. This is not bullshit. We get 100 videos a week from technicians in the field saying how much they are grateful for what we're doing, and they give us like a little 30 45 minute long video of what they did and how it was benefiting them a week, right? And these are just guys in there picking up a phone and making a video, and that stuff really is so powerful, right? It keeps everybody super psyched.
Yeah, I see your commercials when I'm watching my YouTube videos, and I guess because it knows I'm linked to HVAC, it always pops up, and I'm like, Bluon. People are like, Bluon's the best, and I'm like, that's right. Awesome. Because you can tell, like you said, you can tell that's real. It's not staged. Right. It's not some guy behind a green screen. It's a dude in his truck talking about Bluon, and those right. Testimonials are what means something. And as a technician, I would see and be like, oh, I want to check this out. It's not, doesn't have that BS facade about it. So,
bingo.
I won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that this was able to finally happen with the schedules and everything. I definitely been looking forward to this. If you guys ever something breaks out or closer, I guess it's a couple of weeks, but if anything ever launches and you guys would like to come back on and talk about it, I'd be honored to have you guys back on. Definitely
awesome.
Keep in touch and, keep the relationship building. But thank you, Mr. Pete. I really appreciate you coming on. This has been amazing. And like I said, from all the texts and people I know, thank you for what you guys do. We really appreciate it.
And I appreciate that, man. Really, that means everything to us. Not bullshit, like for real.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. And like I said earlier, no BS. A lot of different apps, which me personally, I think are good and they have benefit, but I hear positive and some negative. I have literally, no one has ever looked at me and said, Gil, I think that app's full of shit, or I don't like that app because of this. No one has ever, and I talk to a lot of people through email and text because of the podcast, and nobody has ever said one bad thing about Bluon, and that's the God's honest truth.
I'll take it.
All right.
I'll take it all day long.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time, and we will definitely stay in touch here soon. So thank you.
Awesome. Hey, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Take care, Gil.
My pleasure, sir.
Cheers.
Everybody, man, that's amazing, guys. If you are not using Bluon, and I'm pretty sure you can just go, they have a desktop version. You can go into the App Store and download Bluon, whether your iPhone, Android, whatever it is. Guys, put Bluon on your phone. That needs to be one of your HVAC apps that's on your phone if it is not there. All of us have those apps on our phones, the different, refrigerant calculators and stuff like that. Bluon needs to be one of them. All right. And you just heard about what, Pete just said, that all that stuff that is going to be on there. How many of us don't want that? How many of you don't want that in your pocket to be able to order parts and have those resources and tech support? How many of you have emailed me and been like, Gil, I'm stuck on this unit. Do you know anybody from tech support that could help me? Well, now when you ask me, I'm going to say, yeah, Bluon. There you go. There's the answer to your question. So, guys, you have the resources, take them, use it. I say at the end of every show, and I'm going to say it again tonight, do the little things, do what the next guy's not doing, make yourself better, all right? And something like this, it can only help you. There's no way it could ever hurt you, all right? So I'm going to start to end this show out. I want to thank Mr. Pete and Bluon for coming on. Been trying to schedule this. I've been looking forward to this for so much because all of us out there, if you're a true tech, you love the trade, you pay attention to what's going on, you know how much Bluon has been huge. Everybody talks about it, uses it. So it was awesome to have that conversation. It sucks that when the podcast was down, I missed the road show because that's something else that I was looking forward to. So if any of you got to go to that, kudos to you. I'm jealous. But the next time they do it, I will 100% be there. I don't care if this goddamn place is on fire. But guys, remember to go follow me on all the social media sites. I have the huge giveaway coming soon. There's going to be different merch involved. I have the Yellow Jacket tools, the dual port manometer. I have here. I'll show you real fast. Let me change. So I have the Yellow Jacket charging and air kit. That is up for grabs. I have the Yellow Jacket dual port wireless manometer. As far as I know, until you guys prove me wrong, I've done my research. Yellow Jacket is the only one who makes a wireless dual port manometer. So, just saying, until you prove me wrong, I'm going to keep saying that. Those will be up to grabs. I have vacuum pumps back here to give away. I have an inspection camera. I'm pretty sure Company Cam is going to give some merchandise, some hats, and different stuff to add into this giveaway. Going to have some gift cards and different things, plus a totally separate giveaway. I always want to try to give back to you guys. If you guys help me, I will help you. I'm trying to get the channels to reach different marks as far as followers, members, all that kind of stuff. Stay posted. If we reach those certain quotas that I have, you'll see the post on its Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube that I will do one of the biggest giveaways I've ever done. I'm talking cash prizes, gift cards, tools, whatever it is, if I got to buy things out of my own pocket. All right? So stay tuned for that. Download the podcast. Make sure you leave a review on whatever podcast app that you like to check it out. Audio podcast comes out every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, that's about it. Hey, man, guys, remember, be safe out there, all right? Always make it home the same way you left. We all have somebody to make it home to. It's a crazy world we live in. Be smart, be careful, watch each other's backs, take care of each other, all right? It's a lot more powerful to build somebody up than it is to tear them down. I can't live my life that way. I suggest that you don't do it either. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy. It takes no talent to be mediocre at what you do. You're not setting yourself apart. Put that little extra effort to be the best. Do the best. Learn. We can always get better. Never stop learning. There's more than enough resources out there, just like with Bluon. Keep getting better. All right. I love you guys, man. I appreciate each and every one of you mother effers. And I'm always here to help. Remember, you can email me, hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Direct message me on any of the social media platforms. And if I can help you in any way, I will always do that. All right. So until next week, peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors